For centuries, distance education has been envisioned as the future of education. How far is it progressed since then? How distantly can distance education go? A pleasant day, everybody. Dear EDD 201 classmates, and especially Dr. Mel Bandelaria, our professor. I am Alvin S. Mangiat, one of the members of the group assigned to present the salient topics in the first module, Distance Education Defined, with the following objectives. There are four. However, this lecture is anchored to the first two learning goals only, as underscored. Specifically, it aims to achieve the following sub-objectives. First, to define distance education as industrial process. Second, to explain the implications of industrialization on pedagogy and structure of distance education. And third and last, to elaborate the criticisms and evolution of industrialized distance education. So, let's explore the theoretical definition of distance education as industrialized form of education, which is asserted by Dr. Otto Peters. Highlighting the operational concepts, let's consider his theoretical definition. Distance teaching, or education, is a method of imparting knowledge, skills, and attitudes which is rationalized by the application of division of labor and organizational principles, as well as by the extensive use of technical media, especially for the purpose of reducing high-quality teaching material, which makes it possible to instruct great number of students at the same time, wherever they live. It is an industrialized form of teaching and learning. For Peters, the previous propositions by other theorists inadequately justified the essential nature of distance education. Fundamentally, he characterized correspondence instruction, which is a specific method of distance education, as the most industrialized form of instruction. This instructional process corresponds to industrialization, which comprises the following components. Now, let me invite you to establish a relationship among these components and distance education through the following visual representations. First, we have division of labor. Secondly, mechanization and automation together. Third is organizational principles. Fourth, scientific control. Next, objectivity of teaching behavior. Of course, mass production. And finally, concentration and centralization. As for my understanding, industrialized distance education involves delegation of work from course design to instructional delivery, with specific tasks mediated or replaced by technology. To ensure efficiency, it requires thorough planning and organization for the teacher as an authority to systematize his or her methods and strategies and rigidly manipulate standardized content and assessment with impartiality. It demands extensive creation and equal distribution of instructional materials for a large population of learners. This whole process is dominantly operated and controlled by the school administrators. Do you have the same synthesis? According to Ragat, 1993, a member of British Open University, all distance education institutions likely operate according to the process of industrialization, which he referred to as Fordism, attributed to Henry Ford's method of automobile mass manufacturing. Conforming to the Fordist model, Peters proposes that distance education must diverge from conventional pedagogies, having its own set of principles, potential, limitations, as well as distinct opportunities and challenges for both teachers and students. Not only challenges, but there are also serious threats in Peters' theory. As reviewed by the Distance Learning Institute 2025, distance education in its industrialized form is feared to dehumanize the learning process. The efficiency in content delivery may compromise real human connection and social interaction. The principles of mass production, strict course standardization, and formalization may lead to homogeneous learning experiences, making learners passive recipients of knowledge. In other words, it can potentially make learners robotic and learning mechanically processed. Though Keegan, 1980, initially agreed that distance education is the most industrialized form of education, he subsequently amended it as a mere concurrent characteristic rather than an indispensable component. He supposed that distance education requires activities same as those in face-to-face classes or traditional school. Although certain features may have been evident in distance education during the industrial age, their relevance may be subject to debate in subsequent generations as society evolves and timely innovations emerge. For Ragat, 1993, among many other authors, distance education, like the Open University criticized for its Fardist model, is deemed obsolete in today's rapidly changing industrial societies. New concepts such as neo industrialized and post industrialized forms of teaching and learning are being discussed to address the evolving challenges. On one hand, we have neo Fordism. Distance education is revolutionized by replacing standardized, across the board courses with short term specialized courses meeting the learner's needs. This shift would necessitate student oriented, adaptable courses and a move towards mixed media universities with smaller student groups and increased social interaction. As argued by Mackenzie and others, 1960, distance education shares the same goals and educational philosophy as other modes of instruction, differing only in the method itself. This is evident in Australia's integrated mode of distance education, where on campus and distance students receive equitable learning opportunities. On the other hand, post industrialization occurs. This shift necessitates changes in work organization, moving towards smaller, more qualified academic practitioners and external networks. Distance and open universities must adapt to these changes by offering easily modifiable courses, decentralizing development, and embracing flexible teaching and learning methods. Altering the traditional teacher student relationship, this shift is facilitated by user friendly technical media, emphasizing student centered learning and continuous communication within groups. The proposed dual and mixed mode university model aims to diversify teaching programs, reduce costs, and foster socialization through small group learning. Keegan, 1993, underscores the significance of two way communication through interactive dialogue, flexible course structure, and autonomous learning experience. The gap between teacher and learner is bridged by technology. This is especially crucial for adult learners who require mutual support to have more meaningful learning experiences. Parallel to Keegan's view is Garrison's Communication and Learning Control Theory 1993, suggesting that rigid organizational and structural approach should be replaced with a collaborative and transactional teaching and learning process, as cited in Evans and Jakubek 2023. The centuries old distance education has remarkably transformed. In this age of AI, IoT, or Internet of Things, and robotics, the challenges and opportunities are both pressing and promising. Undoubtedly, the future of distance education is unelusive, yet how distantly it can reach remains unfathomable. Indeed, there is no one size fits all structure, but the ultimate goal of education, whether conventional or futuristic, is to advance human learning. Regardless of the industrial and technological breakthroughs, school administrators and educators must prioritize the needs while ensuring the satisfaction and well being of the clients, not mere industrial consumers, not impassive robots, but human learners. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hope to learn more from you. Goodbye.